Welcome to Small Business Saturdays video series with your host and my husband.
And my dad, Aaron Montgomery.
Join the conversation.
Let's talk some business.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome into Small Business Saturdays. My name is Aaron Montgomery, and you can find me over at our Success Group. And I'm here to share with you guys some five, maybe. Well, I think we've got five in here. Excuse me, five or more, hopefully. Actually, some essential tips for success. And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about the law of attraction and how this powerful universal law that really can help you create a business that you love. And so we're going to cover the fundamental principles of the law of attraction, and we're going to talk about how to set clear and focused intentions and the importance of understanding the stages of the law of attraction. There's actually 3 stages to it. And then give you some strategies for consistently taking action to attract success, and some techniques to raise your vibration and just foster a positive mindset, and just all the benefits that come with practicing gratitude and visualization daily. So before we get started, though, I do want to remind you to just make sure that if you are tuned in live, that you are commenting and joining in on the conversation. To me, this is a community conversation, and I always love your feedback, your questions, your ideas, your thoughts about what we're sharing here today. I don't sit to profess that I'm bringing you the gospel, so to speak, right? I'm sharing what I've learned, and I love learning from you guys as well. So make sure that you're in there commenting. Certainly do me a favor and hit the like button, and make sure you're subscribed, especially if you're on the YouTube side of things. Hit that subscribe button, also the like button for our business page over there at Facebook. And you can subscribe if you have not already subscribed to our YouTube channel, because there is content that gets shared over there that isn't always shared everywhere on Facebook and whatnot. So if you'll go to Live OSG, I'll put the link here on the bottom of the screen so you can see it, liveosg.com. That'll take you directly to our YouTube page. And if you are not a subscriber to the podcast, all of these episodes get pushed out as a podcast a little bit later on, but they get there. And so you want to re-listen, go back and listen while you're driving, listen while you're exercising, listen while you're working and just need something on in the background, right? So if you'll head to Small Business Saturdays, make sure you put that S on Saturdays, Small Business Saturdays podcast.com. That's where you can subscribe to the podcast version. So make sure that you're following all those places. And good morning to everybody that's checking in. Mo, good morning. Jerry, good morning to the community. I love that, Jerry. High five. Yes, good morning to the community. And Betty, so great to have you here. Good morning, Betty. So before we do that, though, I do want to share something with you. This is something I'm pretty excited about, and have been finding myself working with people in these micro consulting opportunities. And it's been really amazing to see some of the progress. If you're not quite ready for the OSG membership, or you already an OSG member and want to check it out, I know you've seen the coupon over in the Facebook private members group, so you can get involved in some of these. If you're a Masters of Success member, you have access to all this stuff for free. But I think this is pretty cool, because I've just seen the growth that people have had, and that really fills me up to watch people really expand and grow and build that business that they love through just some. I like to give people a different perspective, a different way to think about things. You guys know that that's kind of who I am. So let me just quickly share this information with you, and then we'll get right back into what we're talking about here today, those 5 tips for success by utilizing the law of attraction. Are you a small business owner that is ready to create a business that you love? Are you tired of feeling overwhelmed, out of sorts, like the business is controlling you? I'm here to help you create a foundation so that you can build that business that you love. I do truly believe that everyone has all of the resources, knowledge, and ability to create a business that they love without excessive grinding and hustle and working ourselves nearly to death. All you need to do is build a foundation using solid fundamentals. These micro consulting services will give you exactly what you need when you need it. Sign up for one of these micro consulting opportunities, and I will guide you to building a foundation so you can have that business that you love. All right. Well, just head over to coachosg.com to check that out. And for you Small Business Saturdays listeners out there, I do have a coupon code for you. So you can try those things out, check it out, see if it's right for you and get a little bit of a break on that. Just use the coupon code UNSTUCK, UNSTUCK. All right. Well, so here's what I want to talk about. And good morning, Kylene. Good to see you this morning, sweetie. I've already seen her this morning, but good to see her on here. All right. Well, let me see if this resonates for anybody, right? Do you ever have this thought in your head, why doesn't anything ever go my way? Right? And I know we've all said this in our heads. I can't believe that there's anybody out there that hasn't had that feeling every once in a while where something doesn't work out for them. And the immediate thought is, why doesn't anything ever work out? Why is the world conspiring against me? Right? Why is the universe treat me so badly? Right. But here's what the reality is. The reality is the universe really wants to conspire for us. We are just attracting the things that we don't want by focusing on them all of the time. Right. We focus on what we don't have, the lack, the things that aren't going well. Right. As humans, we're really, really, really good at finding all the problems because that's a built-in instinct to keep us alive. But we're in a world where we don't have to worry about being kept alive as much anymore. Again, I'm not saying that that's not, everybody's got different circumstances and there are certainly still challenges in the world. But compared to, back in the caveman days when we were not necessarily at the top of the food chain at that point, right? We needed those instincts. And so, that's a good thing that we've got that. But at the same time, we've got to figure out how to then take those instincts and create differently, right? So that's kind of the idea that I want to talk about here today. And I know a lot of you guys know this, but I'm a Jack Canfield certified success principles trainer. In fact, you can find it right up there are my seals that are proof of this, right? And what attracted me to Mr. Canfield and doing the work that I've done to be able to have him as my mentor originally was this movie called The Secret. And the movie was all about the law of attraction, had a whole bunch of people talking about it and how it worked and how they utilized it. And Mr. Canfield was one of the people featured in that movie. And that is our central topic for today is this tips for success by utilizing this natural law of attraction. Now, what does that mean exactly? Well, it really is fairly simple. And this is the other thing that I've discovered. I actually said this to a friend of mine yesterday is that everything out there, all of the kind of success principles, all of the things that I've discovered along the way that work are super simple at its core. The idea of it is really simple. It's just the practice of putting it into action is not always easy. And so that's what keeps us from it. We want the easy button. We want the instant gratification. So the process is simple, but the execution of it is not always easy. Right? But the law of attraction simply means what you think about, what you focus on, and what you feel strongly about, you will attract into your life and business. Right? And I think about this in my own life. There were always things where, the Montgomery curse, blah, 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 right? And those things always seem to come true. But as I was growing up, there was always one thing that the Montgomerys had a ton of success with. We always found parking spots at the front, right? The Montgomery parking spot. That was our thing, right? I remember as a kid growing up. And the reality of it was none of those things that were the Montgomery curse were actually true. It's just what we focused on, right? But the Montgomery parking spot, we always seem to find one up front, right? And silly as that may sound, that's what we were attracting, or that's what we were looking for, right? It's that feeling of, we went and got a Hyundai Azera not terribly long ago. It's the car that my wife will drive most of the time. And I never heard of it. I never ever heard of the name. It's kind of a little bit more of an obscure Hyundai model. It's, it's not the Santa Fe or the Tucson or some of the ones that they promote a whole bunch. In fact, I don't think they even make them anymore as an Azera, but I could be wrong about that. Anyhow, I just remember this. After we purchased it, the next day, it seemed like every car I saw was an Azera, like every car. Right. So the reality was they didn't go the next day and make a whole bunch more Azeras and people started driving around. The reality was I was now focused on it. I was aware of it. I was now I was seeing those things happen. So because science continues to uncover this, and I'm not going to claim to be a science. I'm not going to claim to understand all this at a deep level, but I know that there's a lot of work being done on it because I'm very interested in learning as much as I can with the way my brain operates. But science is really uncovering that the reality of the world is that it's made up of energy. Even the things that we think are very solid and very like this desk, right? I just tapped on my desk. That's why the camera shook a little bit there. It is just a series of vibrations all held together to be this solid thing. And so that's where the law of attraction works. And Tanya says, Becky and I will watch the replay off to walk a 5K. Go, Tanya, go. Nice job. You guys are going to crush it and feel amazing and do amazing. And yes, definitely catch the replay. Had to go at 9:00 this morning because Lewis's birthday was the other day, and we're kind of doing his birthday celebration today. And he's got a soccer game. Grandpa's coming. We got friends. It's going to be a wild and crazy day. So we'll be back to a later time next week for everybody. And good morning, Sandy. I didn't mean to miss you there. Okay. So we know that the law of attraction can work, right? I think let's all just act as if, let's assume that it does work. And then this will all be a lot more beneficial for you. And then afterwards you can go, yeah, it is what it is, right? Then you can kablooey on it. But for now, let's act as if, right? So as I mentioned, science is beginning to realize that everything really deep down at the subatomic level is all just a series of vibrations and energies. So that's what makes the law of attraction work. And it kind of works in 3 stages. The first stage is you have to ask, right? You've got to put it out into the world, what you want, right? You have to be focused on it. For me, I want to empower proactive small business owners to create a business that they love. That's my desire, right? And the more I put that out in the world, the more I attract that, the more opportunities that show up for it. So, but I got to start by asking. That's number 1. Secondly, I need to believe that it's possible, right? The success principle is called act as if, right? We're acting as if. You may not be at your idea of success yet. You might not be at that thing that you want to attract yet. And that's where most of us are. And in fact, we get to that thing and then we create another thing. And so we're always kind of in that flux of moving forward. But if you act as if, right, you show up and you do things that make it seem as if you believe it. You got to start there, and then you do have to start believing it, right? And the more we act as if, the more belief that will create. So that's the second stage. And then the third stage is we need to be able to receive, right? Again, as I mentioned, as humans, we're really good at pointing out the problems and finding the scary things and being terrified and scaring ourselves to death by just fantasized experiences appearing real, right? Fear, there you go. But we have to let go, right? So we have to be able to receive. And to do that, we have to let go of the reasons why you can't do something, why you can't be something, why you can't have something. You can't receive until you let go of those things, right? Because we focus on what we don't have. But how much time, if you really think about this, how much time do you actually devote to focusing on what you do have and what you know you will have, right? That language is really important. What you know you will have as long as you persistently pursue it, right? We spend all that time focusing on what we don't have. We'll change that, right? And that's the only way that you can receive these things that we're attracting. All right. So let me also mention this. So receive, right? We talked about that, but then I also said here that the language was important, right? What you know you will have. And then this last part, I think, is also very important to break down. What you know you will have as long as you persistently pursue it, right? Now, persistently pursuing is the key to these things becoming reality. We do have to take action, right? You can't ask, then get clarity on what you want, believe it's possible, and be open to receiving it, but then just expect that it's going to fall into your lap without action. What's going to happen is once you do those three things, once you ask, once you believe, once you are ready to receive, ideas are going to seem to just come out of nowhere, and that those ideas are going to lead you to get what you want, right? People are going to show up that you wouldn't have expected. Opportunities are going to show up that you wouldn't have expected once you start being open to the law of attraction. And this is really why we need to be completely clear on our purpose or reason. I call it a reason because our reasons have to be bigger than our excuses. But we have to be completely clear on those things and also our goals so that you can then begin to decipher all of the things that you're going to attract, right? You need to take action on the ideas, the opportunities, and the partnerships. But many times when we go from that kind of negative vibration, we go, okay, I believe what Aaron's saying here today. I believe what Jack Canfield talks about. I believe that this law of attraction can work. And so I start doing these things. I start being open to it. But then guess what? You're going to start getting inundated at times with these newfound attractions, right? It's going to bring in a lot of stuff. And if you're not clear about what you actually want for you, right? And what you actually want for you could be giving, but you have to be clear on why that is, what your reason is, what going inside yourself first. So we got to be really clear on that. And if you're not, then you can easily become overwhelmed because you have too many opportunities. And I'll be honest, this has been my struggle. This has been a challenge for me as I've begun. This has been a process, a journey, and a journey that I love being on, and I love being able to share with you guys. Is I've changed a lot of these things, right? I have a much better mindset. I through the help and support of my wife, Kylene, I certainly could say that I'm much more positive, right? I don't, I'm somebody that can see the problems, but yet now I'm very much quicker to be able to understand that how those things really help us grow, right? So, all of those things start happening. I start changing that mindset, but then I wasn't as clear as I wanted to be, or as I could have been about what I wanted. Right. And so then all these opportunities start showing up, and then my calendar gets full, and that's awesome. Right. I love getting out there and sharing. I love talking to people. I love being able to write. I love being able to support opportunities like Skills USA, all of these opportunities. Right. My email box has become this like sea of golden opportunities, which is incredible. But then what ends up happening is I end up saying yes to all of these things. And then when the great opportunity shows up, I'm like, I'm too overwhelmed. I can't focus on enough. I'm not getting the right things done at the right time. Right. So you got to be really clear. And so with that being said, here's how we can put this into work after you're clear. So just let's work from this point, right? Where you've done the work to really clarify your reason. You've done the work to understand what your goals are and what you really truly want for you. And then here's what you need to do, right? This is how we're going to put the law of attraction to work for us. We're going to raise your vibration, right? That's the simple thing. It starts with just having more positive thoughts. What are you thinking about? How are you interacting, right? If you get cut off in traffic, do you yell, get mad, or do you go, man, I feel bad for that person. I hope they're okay. They seem really distracted. I'm glad that we're okay, right? Anyhow, so that's the first thing. We got to raise the vibration, have more positive thoughts, right? And thank you for sharing those links, Kylene, and hang tight because more to come here. So number one is raise your vibrations. Here's the next thing that you can do. Do at least one thing you love daily. You love one thing for you, one thing that brings you joy, passion, one thing that reminds you of your childhood, one thing that takes you back to that just wondrous world of being a kid, right? One thing that you love to do, one thing that's a passion of yours. Right? It could be spending time with family. It could be just do that one thing. Make a commitment to every day, not just work days, not just weekends. Every day, do one thing that you love doing. Right. So the next thing that you can do to kind of begin to make the law of attraction become more powerful for you is do some meditation, do some prayer. If you're somebody of faith, right? The prayer meditation, to me, in a lot of ways, those can be very similar, right? I won't get into the the specifics. I don't want to make this a religious conversation. I'm a faith-based person, I believe, and so that opportunity to just sit in your thoughts without any judgment, without just letting that go, right? And some of us need a little help and we need maybe a guided meditation. I use tools like Zentangle to help me kind of get rid of the distraction. I've got squirrel brain, so it comes in and comes out, right? So meditation or prayer is another thing that we can do. Here's a big one, and here's a tough one, right? We need to forgive others. All of the things that happened to us, right? All of the people that wronged us, all of the grudges that we're holding, right? We need to forgive them. And here's the trick. Here's the point. This is not to forgive them for them, right? They're going to have to live with that themselves ultimately, right? This is to forgive them for you. Once you forgive them, you can then move forward. But as long as you're stuck in that place of not being able to forgive them, and again, this is not about saying what they did was okay. It's not about saying this situation was okay. It's about saying it's in my past. I'm ready to move forward. And the only way I can do that is by forgiving that situation, the other people. Right? So that's the next thing. The next thing you can do and should be doing is gratitude, right? Sharing what you're grateful for, and not just thinking about gratitude, but sharing it out there into the universe, right? Kylene has a wonderful community that she's working on rebuilding. She started building it on Volley, and for those of you that have used Volley at my behest, it has gone out of business. So I apologize for taking you down that rabbit hole. I thought that they had a really good plan, and it felt like a good program. But so she's recreated that channel, and we're trying to get it built back up together. So if you'll go to rssyoga.link/gratitude, right? You can just hit the orange reply button and it may bring you up as anonymous. You don't have to sign up for anything. There's nothing to pay for. It's all free. Just hit that orange reply button and record a video of yourself sharing the things that you're grateful for. Record just an audio of you sharing the things that you're grateful for. Or if you're not ready for either of those things, right? And you just want to dip your toe in the water, type a couple things that you're grateful for, right? I tell you this though, once you start sharing it as video, the law of attraction is going to begin working more vividly for you, right? Because we're putting ourselves out there. And then go back and listen to others, right? And celebrate with other people, right? Imagine what would happen if everybody just celebrated what they were grateful for and didn't worry about fighting over what our differences were, right? So if you go to rssyoga.link/gratitude and start sharing what you're grateful for. All right. Thank you, Kylene. And Jenny, good morning. Great to see you here. Hopefully softball's going well. Loving the shares that you have there on Facebook. Kylene says, allow yourself to quiet your mind actually allows us to become more connected to who we are, show up the way we want, and then get back to more positive thoughts. Wow. I'm not sure that could be any more well said, Kylene. Thank you for sharing that. So one more time, I think that's worth sharing. If you're listening on the podcast side, maybe you didn't get all of that. So allow yourself to quiet your mind actually allows us to become more connected to who we are, show up the way we want, and then get back to more positive thoughts. Quiet your mind. All right. So again, rssyoga.link/gratitude. I will put that in the comments so it also shows up on actually, Kylie, would you just put it into the comments on StreamYard there for me? That would be fantastic. Okay. All right. And from there, okay, so gratitude. Next thing here that we can do to help enhance and get that law of attraction working better for us is exercise and movement, right? Becky and Tanya are off to walk a 5K. Boom, right? That's going to just open up their vibrations. That's going to, right? We talked about the fact that science is really starting to understand at the subatomic level, everything's just vibrations. And as humans, we're meant to move. We're not meant to be stagnant. We're meant to be on the move. We're meant to exercise. Our bodies are created to burn calories. And that requires movement, right? We need the calories for our brains. And when we move, that enhances our brain function, right? So exercise and movement. I'm not saying you got to go run a marathon tomorrow. What I'm saying is just move, right? Kylene has chair yoga. Right? So if you're at a place where I'm just not quite ready for, I'm not going to go run a 5K, right? I'm not going to go walk a 5K quite yet. Just moving in a structured way. Kylene's got chair yoga that I think is fantastic. I've seen amazing progress from people, right? Just go take a quick walk around your yard. It doesn't even have to be around the block, right? 5 minutes of movement. Exercise and movement can be huge for the law of attraction. The next thing on our list here is sending love, right? We talked about forgiving others. Now let's take that to another level here and let's send love. A great way to do this in a structured manner is there's a thing called love and kindness meditation. Loving kindness meditation actually is what it's called. Excuse me, not love and kindness. Loving kindness meditation. Go look it up. You can find guided versions of it on YouTube. Everybody's got their own little kind of spin on it or take or way that it works for them. But ultimately the way that it works is you get to that kind of place where you can be, still the mind. So it's a meditative place where you're not got 1,000 things going on. So a nice quiet space, if you can, as quiet a space as you can find. And you go through this cycle of things, and there's 5 cycles. And you just say, may I, and then whatever it is that you want, right? Whatever it is that you desire. So for, and that's where the guided meditations kind of differ, but it's, may I be loved. May I be successful. May I be kind. May I be productive. May I be impactful, right? Whatever those things are for you. And you go through kind of whatever that list is, but make sure you kind of remember what that list is. Like I said, the ones that I just listed off there are kind of the ones that I normally go with. Right. So you start there. The second thing is then you go, may you, and then you start focusing on your close family, your friends, so may you, Kylene, Lewis, Keegan, Joey, my puppy, right? That close core inner circle of love that you have, and all those same things. May you be loved. May you feel kindness. May you be successful. May you be productive. May you be impactful, right? So that's the second round. Third round is may you, and then focus on your extended family, right? The extended kind of circle of love that you have. Maybe it's close friends, maybe it's, more extended family, parents, my brother, my dad, my mom, the people I see at my family reunion, right? A little bit more extended, right? And then the fourth one here is may you, and then focus on somebody that you struggle with, right? It doesn't have to be somebody that you hate. So if hate's something that shows up for you, right? And I know hate's a very strong word. But somebody that you struggle with, right? Somebody that you don't always connect with, right? And I'm not going to give any examples of that, but you just focus on them. And then you say those same things. May you be loved. May you be successful. May you be productive. May you be impactful. Right? And you're just sharing that love. And then the last round of this, and you can keep going through this cycle over and over again until you really feel it, until you feel like you've sent love. Because here's the deal: you send it, it comes back, right? That's what the way the law of attraction works. But the fifth one is may you, and then just focus on all beings, right? It could be all humans, it could be all just beings, all living, breathing beings. It could be the universe, where however far you want to go with it, but focus on all beings and do the same thing, right? So there's a way that we can send love. And then this last bit here in kind of these aren't the 5 tips. All right, I'll get to those here in just one second. But these are kind of some things that we can do to kind of open up that law of attraction for us and get us heading in the right direction. And I will review them here as soon as I get through the last one. But the last one here is really important. And honestly, this goes back to the first principle and the success principles. It goes back to the first fundamental in the book, Fundamentals of Business Success, that I am so close, super close. I actually did make the progress that I wanted to make. I'm hoping to maybe wrap it up this weekend. But we have to give up blaming, complaining, excuse making, excessive commiserating, right? And excessive commiserating can show up in a unwillingness to be looking for solutions, right? You've got all the problems, you want to share that with everybody, and then people start giving you ideas for potential solutions, and you just poo-poo on all of them, right? And you're not willing to take action on any of them. You just want to stay in that state of, oh, it's so tough. Okay, cool. Guess where you're going to stay? In that state of it's so tough, right? So you have to give up blaming, complaining, excuse making, excessive commiserating, and judgment of yourself and others. Right? Imagine what your feelings would be if you never had to blame anybody for anything. You never had to complain about the things that weren't going your way. You never had to make excuses for things that you probably should have done, right? You don't have to commiserate and always find all the problems. You can certainly, we want to understand what the problems are, but we have to get out of that, right? Okay, here's the challenge. Now, what's the solution, right? And then giving up judgment, right? We're all doing the very best that we can in that current moment with our current level of knowledge, skill, and ability, right? And that's it, right? Thank you, Barb, sharing the sending love and kindness. May you get your book finished soon. Yes, I may. I will, in fact. So if we give up all those things, though, we give up that judgment of ourselves and others, imagine what kind of room, that space that leaves in our head, or imagine what kind of space that leaves in our emotions. Imagine what kind of space that leaves for us to then start creating through the law of attraction all the things that we want. So there you go. So let me hit those things real quick, just as a quick overview. You want to raise your vibration by just having more positive thoughts. Just start there. I want to, you notice a negative thought show up, say, cancel. What could be a more positive thought? That, just starting right there. Perfect. That's going to get the momentum rolling for you. That's number 1. 2, do at least one thing you love to do daily. One thing for you daily. One thing you love. One thing that takes you back to that childlike euphoria of joy and happiness. Right. 3rd thing, meditation or prayer. 4th thing, forgive others. 5th thing, gratitude. Use that daily gratitude channel. Right. rssyoga.link/gratitude. That 5th thing. That was the 5th thing. Exercise and movement would be next. Sending love, using that love and kindness meditation as a tool to do that. But any way that you want to send love actually will work. That's just a suggestion, that loving kindness meditation. And then most importantly, give up blaming, complaining, excuse making, commiserating, and judgment. All right. So I want to start wrapping this up, but you guys tell me what your thoughts are. Where are you at with all this? How you feeling about what we've talked about? I appreciate you guys acting as if here's that moment where you can kind of go, okay, let me let that sink in. And what shows up, right? What seems true? What seems like, I'm not so sure. What questions do you have? What comments do you have? So I'll give you guys an opportunity to share that. And while you are doing that, and we will come back and talk about those things that you share, I want to close this up with the 5 tips, right? Here are the 5 tips that you can use to enhance and enable the law of attraction in your life that's going to lead you to success a lot faster, a lot easier, and a lot quicker. So, number 1 is utilize visualization to get clear on your purpose, reason, and goal. And what visualization does for us, wow, that was hard to say this morning, is the reality of the way our brain works is if I said the word Thanksgiving, it does not just scroll across your mind's eye, your brain, your thoughts as a typewriter typing out Thanksgiving, right? What happens is we work in narratives, we work in stories. That's how our mind works. And so we visualize what Thanksgiving means to us. And for everybody, it's a little bit different, right? Maybe it's the family and friends that you have around. Maybe it's the smells, the taste of the food. Maybe your family's, you have memories of the turkey. Maybe you have memories of the sweet potatoes. Maybe you have, and sometimes even these memories might show up as, the family's fighting or something like that, right? But we visualize these things in our mind's eye. So we can also utilize that same superpower of ours to get really clear on what our purpose, reasons, and goals are. And all we have to do is just visualize that. What's the story? What's the narrative? You transport yourself in your brain through your imagination to that spot. And once you do that, then you're going to get a lot of clarity, right? Because that's what makes our thoughts feel clear, is when we can see it, right? We always say, I'll believe it. I'll believe it when I see it. But the opposite is actually true. You're going to see it once you believe it. And so we can do that by utilizing visualization. So that's tip number 1, utilize visualization and use that to make sure that you're very clear on your purpose and your goals. Number 2 is to create and repeat daily affirmations. So once you have that visualization, using an affirmation, right? Jack Canfield actually tells a story as he talks about this, about how he was teaching this idea of affirmations. And the affirmation that he was using was of getting a beach house on Maui in Hawaii, right? He didn't actually want that necessarily. That wasn't a bucket list thing for him. He just thought that would be something that people would understand. And so he was doing these presentations, sharing it at seminars that he did at businesses over and over and over again as an idea. And guess what? That ended up happening. He remembered being there on the balcony, looking out and going, oh my gosh, this is what I was sharing all of it. Why? He wasn't sure how this opportunity showed up for him to have this beach house. So anyhow, create and repeat daily affirmations is number 2. The 5th tip here is to find success-minded people. We've got to surround ourselves with that success team. You have to find the success-minded people, right? The daily gratitude channel we talked about. Kylene's got Thankful Thursday that she does every Thursday now at 5 p.m. Central Time. So you can tune in actually right where you're catching these things at here, liveosg.com, or over on the Facebook page at our success group, Pro for Facebook. But here's the trick, right? You're going to surround yourself with these success-minded people. You're going to show up. You're going to be here listening in on Small Business Saturdays. You're going to, be in the Understanding Success Facebook group or Rise Shine Smile Club, right? You have to be engaged, right? You can't just be a consumer. The universe rewards action, and being a part of the conversation and adding to that conversation is action, right? So it's one thing to find success-minded people. And yes, you will certainly pick up some things just by being around them, but you really want to actually move forward and get to where you want to go quicker, start being engaged, start acting as if, start being part of the conversation. All right. So that's number 3, find success-minded people and get engaged. Number 4 is commit to a daily mindset practice. What do you need to do for you, right? Do something daily that you love that we talked about, right? Exercise, meditation, prayer. Create a routine for yourself and make it a habit, right? Habits, are formed just by doing an action over and over. So we've created a routine, and then we can make that a habit. And then number 5, the 5th tip here, the essential tip for success is you need to act as if, right? You need to start showing up as if you've already achieved the result, right? You want to be a successful business person, then start acting like it, right? Change the way that you speak. Reduce the cursing, maybe, right? I don't, again, this is my vision of what a successful person is. Whatever a successful person is to you, a successful business person or a successful person in life or whatever you're looking for, your vision is important. So I'm just sharing what my vision of it might be, right? So, maybe you want to change the way that you speak, right? I knew for me that was something I needed to change. I found myself engaged a little too much in some of the vulgarities of life. I kind of let that get away from me, right? And how do you go about your business? How do you dress? How do you show up for yourself? I recently was able to share at an event some of the trainings that I love doing, and I just said, you know what, gosh, I really, I get that I'm in the t-shirt industry and all that other stuff, but what if I showed up a little bit differently? How would that make me feel? And how would then I present in such a way? So I wore a sports coat. I didn't wear it all the time, but I had it with me, right? And I don't know. I just felt a little bit more official. I don't know, business-like. So, just show up. Here's the kind of the reality of it. If you just keep doing it in a way that you've always done it and then expect the same results, you're going to end up in the same place with those same vibrations. So we got to start acting as if. So let me hit those tips one more time. And if you guys, again, get engaged to be part of it, the conversation here, what are you thinking? What showed up for you? What do you like? What do you, what do you disagree with? What do you think I'm full of malarkey on here? Right? I'm okay with that. It's about having this conversation. So these 5 tips: utilize visualization to get clear on your purpose, or I call reason, and goals. Number 2, create and repeat a daily affirmation. We got to believe. We got to hit that stage of law of attraction. Number 3 is find successful people and then get engaged, be part of the conversation. Commit to a daily mindset practice, right? Make that routine and make it a habit. And then number 5 is act as if, show up as if you've already achieved that results, right? So, Kylene says, amazing tips and always a good reminder to be intentional with our thoughts. Awesome. Thank you, Kylene. All right. What else you guys got there? What else shows up for you? What are you going to utilize out of this? What's the number one takeaway that you're going to take from this conversation that we've just had here today? And that can be really helpful for others too, right? Maybe you're somebody that likes to be a supporter and help other people out. Well, guess what? By you sharing and engaging, you're going to help other people because they're going to go, oh yeah, I didn't think of it that way, right? We need different perspectives. So, all right. So I'm going to let you guys do that. But let me kind of just summarize this for you too. Ultimately, the law of attraction can help you manifest, really is the best word I can come up with. You can manifest that successful business through aligning those thoughts that you have, the beliefs, and then ultimately the actions that you take. But you have to set clear intentions. You have to take consistent actions, and you have to raise your vibration by acting as if you've already achieved that goal. You can attract that success that you desire through these things that we talked about here today. Jenny says, you were spot on. I was raised to be a complainer, and I've been catching myself and redirecting, and it's working. Yes, Jenny, I so feel what you're saying there. I get it, right? Some of it's, I don't know. For me, it's been like sometimes self-deprecating humor, but definitely complainer. We were, everything was, the weather's terrible. This is terrible. That was just how we interacted. That's how we showed each other that we loved each other, because we could commiserate together, and that's okay, right? I get it, but that was the base knowledge, understanding, skill, and ability that I had in that moment. now that I've added new base knowledge, skills, and ability, guess what? You can catch yourself and redirect it, and it's working. Yes. That's a great reminder for me too. Thank you, Jenny, for sharing that. Perfect. Okay. So what else you guys got out there? I do want to remind you that if you haven't had a chance to yet, make sure that you like the video. Make sure that you comment on the video, the live broadcast, and also make sure that you subscribe at YouTube, and make sure that you're liking and following our Facebook page. You can go to liveosg.com if you're not somebody that's already subscribed on YouTube. So make sure that you're subscribed over there. And don't forget about the podcast version. Small Business Saturdays podcast.com is where you can listen later on. All these episodes end up getting put out there as we go along. And ultimately, though, take action. Take action on these tips, and make sure that you're sharing your experience with the community, right? What can you take away from this and then utilize to help other people, right? Let's make this ripple out. So also, I want to just make sure that you guys don't forget to check out all the micro consulting offers. And there's just a few there right now. You tell me what you need. I'm definitely going to be adding others as I get feedback from folks. But if you'll go over to coachosg.com, you can check that out. And don't forget to take advantage of the discount offer for Small Business Saturdays listeners, which is the coupon code UNSTUCK that you see there on your screen. So, all right, you guys, that's what I've got for you. I appreciate Kylene and Jenny jumping in there and sharing. If anybody else has anything to share, please do so. Maybe you're catching the replay. Still add those comments. I will be coming in and watching those and replying and just continuing that conversation. So I appreciate everybody's time. Also, next week, I'm going to move the time again for the live viewers. And I know some people said later in the day was better, and I'm going to try to do that. Just coordinating the schedule. Lewis has got soccer right now. So next week, we're going to be at 2:00 Central Time. So actually an afternoon spot next week. And we're going to talk about conquering procrastination. We're going to dive deep into the world of procrastination and talk about some tips, some what I would consider powerful tips to overcome a pretty common obstacle. I think that procrastination is something that we all do. In fact, in certain cases, it's a good thing. One of my favorite books is a book called Procrastinate on Purpose by Rory Vaden. But I think sometimes we do it a little too much. And so we got to find that balance. All right. So as Rena says, have a super Saturday. Thank you, Rena, for checking in and tuning in. And you guys all have a super Saturday. And I will look forward to talking to everybody again next week. Happy, thankful Thursday coming up too. Just a reminder about that. Sorry, I was transitioning. I couldn't remember where I was going, but I wanted to remind people to check out Thankful Thursday at 5:00 Central Time right here on these same channels. And Rena says, always working on the balance. I right there with you. High five. It's a journey. So don't worry about getting there. Just worry about the journey. Not worry about, just think about the journey. Focus on the positive sides of the journey. How about that? Right? Hey, just catching myself right there. Perfect. That's how we do it. Jenny says, I'm adding it to my calendar. I'm a procrastinator. Ha ha ha. All right. Well, I can't wait to share some tips there, Jenny, and I'm looking forward to hearing what things you're putting into place. Right? You said I've been catching myself, and that's a great reminder to catch myself, like you said there. Okay, you guys have a great rest of your Saturday, and I will talk to you again next week.